It's Chris. Liege of Games Baby! Anyway, so, what do you need to know this week? You know, we're taking a look at all of the crowdfunding, the best of the crowdfunding this week, and there's going to be a couple little side tangents I'll tell you right now. I might even put them in the comments below, because we saw two games launch and get canceled even before I had a chance to film this. So less than 48 hours after launching, they're already canceling. So it's very interesting because we're seeing a lower threshold to do so. If you missed anything earlier in the week, 3 reviews. I know you guys don't come to my channel for reviews, but one of them in particular, I'm very proud of my Beast review. I think it is by far and away the best review I have done. So if you have not checked that out, spoilers, it's the best preview Kickstarter game prototype that I have played since creating this channel in the first place. So if you have any interest in it, check it out. Again, not saying that it's clickbait, as I put out there in the video. It's not clickbait, it's the truth. There's a difference, although there is some overlap. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Rift Force, one of the Spiel des Jahres nominations. Check that out as well. Also, my review of Rolling Realms, the latest of Stegmeier's Stonemaier games. So, a little bit of everything this week. So, just all over the place with this channel. But I like it. I like that side of things. And I know those don't get big view counts. I don't really care. I like doing those games. I like talking about them. I like discussing them. I like breaking them down. It's fun. Let's get to crowdfunding. You guys, that's why you guys are here. So we're going to start with big names. We're going to go with big name analysis right from the get-go. So thanks for tuning in. Let's do this. Look, first and foremost, Paint the Roses. I told you this was one to watch. I'm backing it. You can see. I'm going in at the deluxe level. Why am I going in at the deluxe level? You heard me espout my views on Deluxifications, but this is one where I'm also getting an expansion. And honestly, you know, this is one that I'm super interested in the game for. I couldn't get in on the preview side of things, but I'm also going to put my money where my mouth is. This is probably the biggest lock for me right now of the pledges that I am backing. Hard, cooperative, deductive, easy to get to the table. It's going to be pretty to hit the table. Boom, there you go. That's why it's almost freaking 10 times its funding goal within the first, 48 hours, which is insane. Also for a North Star Studio Games, because this isn't like some with a huge pedigree, right? So obviously, let's just go to the pledges right away, because you can already kind of see, well, here you go. Acrylic, I'm fine with that. I went with Queen Games as one of their acrylics. Actually, you know what? I didn't go with Queen Games as acrylics. I passed on it from the Copenhagen side of things because I was happy with the cardboard. So that doesn't matter to me. The dual layer garden board, I think that should be a standard, whatever the game is getting. And the Escape the Castle components, which is the expansion. So you're getting the Kickstarter module as well. I mean, again, if you're not going to get the Deluxification, you're better off waiting for retail. Now, again, $55 is going to be the retail version of all of that. And, I mean, with shipping, that's going to be more. It's going to probably be slightly more than what you would expect, because I guess, 25 plus another 15 for retail, so 40. If you can get free shipping, I mean, yeah, you're going to save probably 20 plus bucks if you buy both of those at retail. Maybe without the Kickstarter module, of course, but at that point, you probably don't need it anyway. And so, you know what? Again, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I really love this. This is going to be for me. And you know what? Just like with Bullet, I mean, you can make the argument with Bullet, but now you're seeing that people are loving Bullet and they want the Deluxifications. And that's the tricky part about Kickstarter and crowdfunding. If you find out that you love it, sometimes the Deluxifications aren't available. And I don't have enough of this that, Deluxifications aren't taking up enough space. I can easily sell some of my miniature games. Sorry. This is, this just looks like a quality game. I don't know what else to tell you to sell you on this. The queen is trying to chop off your heads while you're trying to do her garden and you're trying to escape. It's cooperative. It's a puzzle. It adapts to the players, as it says here. The quotes are the quotes. I never quite go off quotes anymore because, I can never tell. Even with my quotes, when people have taken my quotes, sometimes there's context, sometimes it's out of context. And that's where I do like the videos, because you can see, like, with my Beast video. Am I really just saying that, to hype it up? Best Kickstarter? No, I'm saying it because it truly was for me. But this is going to be what it's going to be. And it's already killing it. And it's just going to continue to kill it. Now, I guess here is the really, what are you getting? And the dual layer is going to be better for those deluxe tiles that you're laying down. Right here, the shrub tiles, the acrylic tiles. I mean, the game tray, again, I'm not sold on it either way. And honestly, if I wasn't such a big fan of it, I get this level. Because you don't see, there's not a huge difference. But for $5 more, I might as well just get the higher level. That's where the price is going to be. There's enough going on here that you can see, again, placing the tile, placing the clue tokens, correctly guessing a whim card, incorrect, queen moves ahead, queen's speed is going to change each time you mess up, and if there's no spaces left, you win. This is just going to, I agree, actually. This has the feel of something that would be, again, not a lot of the bigger major channels. This is not going to get the hype. It's not going to get some of the hotness that other channels will give it. But this is something, if you looked at my games of the year last year, The Loop, Nidavellier, Cosmic Frog, games that are getting a ton of hype this year, but games that are of this ilk, that are lighter, but still with a lot of fun, enough complexity, but not too heavy that you can still get to them to the table relatively frequently without alienating your group. And this strikes all of those boxes. So, it might not be the game of the year, but I can look at it. If it looks as good as it sounds, it could easily be a top 5 contender, something along the lines of like Cascadia. So again, all the information's there, the rulebook's there, you can check it out online. Escape the Castle expansion here. What is this? Okay, 6 unique modules that you can integrate then, right? Yeah. Okay. So, I'm sold. This is probably the biggest lock, and no stretch goals. So, you have to be positive about that too. They're not making you FOMO. So, there you go. Paint the Roses. Check it out. I've been hyping it for months. Speaking of things I was hyping last week, and now this is a little bit of a surprise for me. I wasn't expecting this to be well-funded. I was expecting this one actually to be a little higher as opposed to Paint the Roses, which I wasn't sure would be nearly as high as it was. So, Bardwood Grove, it is the latest release in the 5 Realms game from Final Frontier Games. And it's Euro-based, but it's a little bit different spin than the previous games of Merchant's Cove or Rise to Nobility. And the interesting thing on here is there's really a less information than I was expecting. They have some general overviews. They talk about the 2-card system of making this musical tableau where you're drawing 2 cards and choosing one to play one way and another to play another way. And then that's really where the main decisions are. I'm not sure. Why isn't it doing as well? People are very careful nowadays, and I think there's been, at least in the comment section from other Board Game Geek or Facebook, they're like, well, the others weren't a hit for me. And so there's that concern. But again, like, this game isn't going to appeal to everyone, right? Just like Paint the Roses isn't. It's a little bit of a niche. And again, this isn't really solely a Euro worker placement. It's using cards. It's using a card building, deck building system. And it's a draw to pick one, essentially, of each. And so that's not going to be good for the Europhiles. That isn't totally Amerithrash. And so these weird hybrids sometimes fall in between. And I feel like sometimes that's why they're a little bit lower funding than a pure game of one on the other side would be. But that's okay because I like the blend of these things. Now, again, you have the Standard Edition 59. You have the Deluxe Edition 79. Deluxe Upgrade Pack is really the big difference. And so what are you getting in that Deluxe Upgrade Pack that's going to be, worth $20? That's the question right now. Here you can go. You can see the Bard influence, the musical influence that you're going to be using. Again, what all is going to be there? That was one of the big critiques I saw on Merchant's Cove for people that did not like it, that said that some of the expansion stuff or some of the Kickstarter stuff in terms of stretch goals was much more helpful in terms of giving it variability than just the core box alone. And say that for what you will. There's 9 times out of 10, the core box is more than enough already, and the stuff on the side, especially if it's miniature based, you never get to, or you get to, like a tenth of it. So that's very divisive. So you just need to realize that on that side of things. The deluxe upgrade pack. Okay, so badges, wooden. Okay, so do you need the wooden side of things? And here's the other thing. The collector's edition is getting you a 5th player component and metal coins with the expansion. Now, I guess I haven't looked at this page a whole lot, so I'm not going to, guess at these things. But if I just wanted the expansion, are they going to allow me to add that to the deluxe edition? And I guess the question would be, is $110, $80, so $31, the expansion, is it going to be less than that? Because if it's not much less than that, then yeah, you're best off at getting the collectors, but that's $110. That's honestly more than I was expecting with this. I was expecting this to be like a 40, 50, maybe $60+ game, sort of like Paint the Roses. I mean, you can argue that Paint the Roses is much more expensive for something than it should be as a cooperative deduction style game. But this one is also a little bit more. And, again, we've seen the Kickstarter price inflation, right? This is just another example of that. Discard a card, play a card to your tableau. I mean, like I said in the beginning, choose one, go where they go. And then you move your bard around trying to, study, gain more songs, gain more spells, activate your locations. I mean, it looks really cool. I really like the concept of this, but especially I'm backing 6 things right now, which is insane. I haven't backed more than 2 in a month for the past 10 months. And now all of a sudden, all of these things are hitting. And again, this looks really good, but it's $110. For me, I would worry that I like the game, but I don't see anything in the deluxe set, especially with the metal coins that I need. And so would I be better off getting the retail version of it, depending on what's in the Kickstarter pack, and then the expansion both at retail? Because of what I just said about the Kickstarter stuff earlier. I mean, the rule book is there. So, I mean, again, I love the fact that that's up on day 1. Okay, you're getting more cards, dual layered boards, more cards, more character, a beatboxer. Does that, beatboxing, speaking my language. Anyway, that's, if you actually watch the intro anymore. Linen finish, okay, great, don't care. New stones, why back now? Yep. A bunch of previews here, a couple previews. Shipping's going to be what it's going to be. Wait, how much is shipping? Okay, that's not actually bad. I was looking horizontally instead of vertically, so I was a little bit questioning that. But that's about it. There's really not as much on the page as I was thinking. At the same time, there really doesn't need to be. Now, I'm surprised that there's only 2 videos here. That is really actually surprising, because I know that this game was clearly sent out to a lot more people. So I'm guessing that there are more out there, and I'll probably be checking those out. And, again, I'm split on this one. I'm not backing it yet, but I'm sort of in between. I mean, I'm going to keep it saved, and this one's probably going to be one that goes right down to the wire for me. They might be sending me a copy of the prototype to try out, and that might be the make it or break it for me. And if I do get that, I'll try and get it played before this campaign ends, so you can kind of see a little bit more of my thoughts. But you actually have to watch it. If I'm going to get these copies, people, you have to actually watch those videos, especially the Kickstarter ones, right? You guys are watching me for the crowdfunding stuff, so come on, I need a little reciprocation here. Anyway, I'm blabbing. Let's go on to the next one. Speaking of killing it, though, I mean, board game tables, right? This was my other pick of the week last week. 50,000. 2 indie Japanese games that they picked up. And, I mean, I think people finally have realized that, hey, there are a lot of clever, quirky games. We just saw, in case you didn't see, one of the other games that got featured on Board Game Geek a couple weeks ago, the card game Scout, is getting a re-theme as well, a circus theme. People really rave about that one. I was not a big fan, but I know other people, trick-taking people, really, really like that one. And now we've got 2 more of these. People are realizing that there's a big business on that side of things. Because what you're doing, unlike a lot of these other ones, like the 2 that we just featured, right? These games are developed. These games are done. You're just importing them and sometimes giving them a slight English makeover. And getting the licensing, and it's giving sort of a mutual relationship symbiotically between the Japanese publishers and creators and designers and the English-speaking world, because I've seen a lot of stuff that I would love to have imported. There's 2 Gaiju games, or 3 I think now, that just look tremendous but are never going to get English versions. But this gives me hope that maybe someday we will see more of that, because Psychic Pizza Deliverers is one of those that I almost imported when I did my one big box of imports like 2 years ago. And Dandelions I had never heard of before this. And so I mean, Board Game Tables just put out Kabuto Sumo is their latest Kickstarter release. Is that behind me? Yeah, it's right there. And I couldn't remember. Shows you how much I changed this, and look at this. It's more for you guys, less for me sometimes. Anyway, but this is good stuff. I mean, this is $50 for both games shipped. I mean, we were just talking about prices. This is a good deal. Now, again, the issue, just like with AEGs, is, with the Whirling Witchcraft and 10, is are you going to like both of these games? I mean, because if you're not, well, then $50 isn't a good deal no matter what, or how you slice it. Now, interestingly enough, I mean, they allow you to a la carte it, which honestly is good. So, take that for what you will. Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town is something completely unique. I mean, it's this hidden movement game where it's one versus all, and the one is just like moving around on like sort of a one-sided battleship, and you're just getting to, pick out which way you want to go and then react to what happens if you're the all. So, and then you have Dandelions here where you're trying to move your seeds around, and a 2 to 3 players. I didn't know much about Dandelion, but these are both games that as a indie Japanese lover, I would love to get to the table because my group loves it and hates it both. I introduced a couple, and a couple have been hits and a couple have been misses, frankly speaking. But the ones that are hits, I mean, are solid. And the other thing I'll say is, as opposed to Bardwood, as opposed to Paint the Roses, where all of a sudden everyone feels the need to get, Deluxifications, you're not seeing that here. Like, the Japanese games are minimalistic in terms of design, overhead, and not necessarily cost, but elements. So there's not a lot of superfluousness. The boxes are small. The stuff is well sized, for lack of a better term, and the games are unique. And so, again, here you go. Dice. Keeping an eye on your opponent, maximizing your score, but make sure don't let anyone else by pushing your opponent's dice into a different garden. Oh, man, this is cool. Okay, so I'm going to reach out to Board Game Tables because last time they offered to send me a copy of Kabuto Sumo, and I'm going to see if their offer stands on this. I mean, I will probably end up pledging $50 if I don't get an offer back from them, but this is both up my niche. These are both up my niche, and it's cool. I mean, dice, I like the concept of dice and done in unique ways. One of my other favorite Japanese games, Rumble Nation, does a very similar but different thing. Roll all 11 dice. Players choose the best die, move into the high value. If you land on another player, continue forward the same amount of spaces. If you land on the space as another player's die, you may move it. All dice are used. Players score gardens. Oh, man, this is cool. Oh, I wasn't expecting to like Dandelions. Oh, I wasn't expecting to like Dandelions at all. Oh, man. So, yeah. Okay, crap. That actually almost intrigues me more now with the dice and the moving around and the bumping. Especially as a 2 to 3 player count. I think that's a very interesting player count, and I like the fact that you can do either. And again, this is the secret deduction, where you're moving around trying to find your way, trying to deliver the pizza to the right house without getting ghosted. 3 to 5 players. Again, that's a great count. It just works well. Oh, man. Okay, crap. Yeah, so this is, I mean, you're seeing it from both sides, and you're choosing, you want to look for the pizza, you can't see the map. You share information about what's surrounding them. They can encounter ghosts. They can encounter teleporters and fences. I mean, this is the crazy stuff, but it works. It works. It works. It works. It works. And so, check it out. I don't hype a lot of stuff, but this is the stuff that really geeks me out. This is the type of stuff that I hope you guys watch this part of the video, because it's not stuff you're probably, again, going to see on other channels. I hope that I can bring this to you. And it's not going to get, a channel that has, 5 or 6 figures probably to talk about it. But hopefully they do, because, I think they should. This deserves just as much attention as some of the other stuff. So anyway, Dandelions and Psychic Pizza Deliverers, go to the ghost town. Now, speaking of things I know nothing about, Travis D. Hill's Union Station. I have no idea what this is, but it's 300% funded, and let's talk about it. Let's take a look. Some sort of economic stock laying game. I'm completely clueless about that side of things, right? Okay, what is it? Quick playing cube rails game for 3 to 5 players. stocking manipulation, share purchasing more than route building. So, okay, again, more of the XX side of things, but a little bit different twist on it. So again, that must be, yeah, train-centric. Completely outside of my wheel zone. Wheel zone. Anyway, so that's how my day is going. How is your day going? Hopefully this part of the video actually just isn't frozen like it was last week. Anyway, I mean, this is a big railroad one. Again, John Gets Games. I know he likes those, so I'm not surprised. Thoughtful Gamer. Yeah. Not be in stores. Not plan to sell it widely afterwards. I mean, and that's what happens with a lot of these train XX type games. So, okay. I don't know. I thought I'd mention it. Give a shout out to them. They're doing well. There you go. Union Station. That's all I got. Next up, Birdwatcher. Now, this one's funded. I wasn't sure this one was going to fund today, but it clearly did. So, props to them. So let's see what we got going on here, because this art is tremendous from that side of things. I have no clue. This was one that just like got announced. I got an email like over the weekend, I think, a press release saying, hey, we're launching Birdwatcher on the 12th. And I was like, oh, awesome. Let's see what we got here. So it looks like you have 3 actions. Discard 2 insect tokens to take an extra action. Your actions are taking a photo, run into the jungle, bird call, zoom lens. Okay. And they take, oh, publish as well. And they take different amounts of actions. So those bottom 2 take 2 actions as opposed to just 1. So that's kind of interesting. Rahdo. You know what? I said that last week. All of a sudden, Rahdo's everywhere again. All of a sudden, Rahdo's videos are on all the pages. Goes in waves. Truly goes in waves. So, what are you getting in this Kickstarter edition? I hate to say this. I'm clicking remind me. This is too beautiful not to give it a closer look later. So, you're getting the Academy, the Jungle, and the Clearing. So, what are you actually doing, though, with these actions? What, we got like about a dozen here, you know, or 10, 11 different types of birds, different insects, different publication cards, your individual player aids, bird. Wooden tokens here for the insects. Okay, that's the deluxe edition. There's a rule book. So, okay, here we go. I like this. This is good. Lure birds to your tree. Take a photo, collect insects. The click of the camera start another bird away, though, so you have to be careful which ones you're doing. Publish the findings, so that's how you're going to be doing the score. And then you can zoom in on someone else's tree and take the picture there. That's cool. Whoever made these is doing a really good job of animation-wise. Okay. I wish they gave the actual mechanics, and that goes back to those actions up at the top in the rule book. So I may have to scroll back up here in a second because I want to know a little bit more. And here we get to all the videos. Ooh. Must be yay tall to enter. So the concept, when I pulled up the rulebook here, is relatively straightforward. It's just it's got those 6 different actions that you can sort of manipulate on your turn with the amount of actions that you have being 3, like I said. And you're going to be scoring them based on these publication values down here, either individually per each one that you have, or it's also potentially a set collection for those as well. And so if you get them photographed, you get the matching insect down here in the lower left. You can also, it says, get citations points for the unique insects that you have at the game's end. If you want to get an initial action, like I mentioned, discard 2 of them. So it's a risk reward. Get extra actions now, potentially lose more points later. Again, publications are ways that you're going to get points at the end each time the condition is met. And it gives you a good explanation of what you're going to be getting here in terms of points at the end, as well as what you're doing in the first place with it. The rulebook is relatively straightforward here. It runs through all of those 6 actions that I just said. Take a photo. Okay, you have to have 2 trees in your bird, though. 1, startle a bird away from your tree. You're full. You want to get rid of one. Great. Can't get that one back this turn. 2, add a bird to your tree to your photo journal. Okay, great. Perform a burn call. Call somebody to your tree. Run into the jungle. That jungle area that you're going to be trying to call birds from, you run in there and basically you reset it, and those go to the clearing area of the board we saw up top, and allowing you to then repopulate the jungle board. Zoom lens also takes 2, and then it allows you to take a picture of one at another person's tree. And again, have to have one tree and have to have one bird in your tree as well. And then the last one, take a publication in the next page of your photo journal. Endgame triggers, 12 pages. Well, 14 or 16, depending on how many players there are. But I mean, it's straightforward. So I'd have to watch a little bit of what this gameplay actually looks like, the flow, because this is one I could see myself going either way. And then there's a couple extra rules down here in terms of scoring, 5 different ways you're scoring, and here's the insect breakdown. So it's sort of, again, it's a set collection where the more you have, the more you get. And greatest variety again. There you go. So all in all, I mean, it's relatively straightforward. I see why it's funded. I didn't check the price point, though. I didn't see the price point anywhere on that. Okay, $39, because I don't need the note card set. So $39 is not bad at all. Shipping's going to be what shipping's going to be. I'm going to guess, what, like 15 bucks or something for me? 12. Okay. So that's about what I'd expect. Okay. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the aesthetic, but it works well mechanically and thematically. So there you go. Birdwatcher. Check it out. I talked about this one. I wondered what it was, so did everybody else. I mean, it's the Dragon's Tomb yearly fundraiser, and this is their Kickstarter. There's been a couple in the past. Honestly, I was never familiar with any of these other ones. But it's sort of a punny play on all of the other things that I critique and I talk about on this channel as things I'm not always terribly a fan of. And it just sort of plays it tongue-in-cheek. And it just is a deluxe version of rock, paper, scissors as a fundraising tool with a few of the bigger names in the industry. Beth Sobel, Chip Theory Games, Game Trays, and Turksy. Solo mode for rock, paper, scissors. And there were some people that totally got this, and then there were a lot of people that were not getting it, especially on Reddit. Like, holy cow, people. Anyway, so they had Rodney actually do a how to play. So, and a few quotes in there as well from big name people. I mean, it's satire, folks. It's satire. The offensive adult party game is the one card that from last year, I think. There's one black card and identical 19 cards that say blah blah blah. That's it. And that's how he is supporting and getting his channel. So there you go. Cards, deal with it. I kind of like the shirt though. It's kind of a cool shirt. You can get a game night with him. So anyway, thought I'd mention it. I talked about it earlier. Wanted to follow up. If you like that channel, check it out. Perpetuity, Grave Descent, sort of a little bit of a 4X-ish game. I mean, it's over a third of the way funded. Let's check this one out. Again, I didn't look at this one beforehand. Okay, co-op competitive solo. I talked about it just briefly in my October preview of all of the crowdfunding games. And so let's take a little bit look of what it is doing. So let's take a little bit of a closer look here. Let's take a little bit of a closer look here to see what they're actually doing in this game. Okay, they've got a couple events coming now between now and the end. Okay, so Perpetuity, Mortals, how to play. So is it a side? Okay, so you're choosing sides. You're either the Perpetuity or you're the team of Mortals. Okay. So what are you actually doing? Okay, place workers on places. Work is completed immediately. Perform missions. Unload the shuttle in the periphery. No idea what's going on here. Collect workers to do other things. Each round, the Perpetuity causes more chaos and mischief. Okay. Interesting. You have different ways of playing as the Perpetuity in how you choose to play it in that sense. Either only damage, automated with card selections, or you can dedicate a player to it from that side of things as well. So I'm still not sure like what the objective of this game is and what you're actually doing. So game board versions. So a little bit of everything that you're getting here, the areas in the game itself. I mean, it seems like a very interesting game, but I'm looking at this and I'm hearing the individual mechanisms described, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm actually doing in this game yet. Like, you just listed out what the things were, but what was the purpose of them? How does it entail? I mean, I don't get a good sense of that despite all of that information. And again, plenty of videos. So it's interesting. I just need a little bit more clear information up here. I mean, it's nice that this is all listed out of what's going on, but I just don't know. I just don't understand what the purpose of it is. Like general description, but I just don't get a sense of the mechanics. I don't know. This one, it probably needs a lot closer look. But I wonder if that's also what's putting people off too, is because I can't immediately tell what the purpose of this game is. So that would be my question. You can let me know if I'm wrong. I probably am, you know. But anyway, Perpetuity, Grave Descent, check it out. Now, what on the mighty green earth do we have here? Micro Medusa. I had to look at this one because, one, it's Medusa as a Greek appreciator of the mythological conversations and tales. I like that. And then it also says micro, and it's raising $4,000 as a micro game. So let's see what we got going on here, folks. $10. Fits into your pocket, ships in an envelope. Tiny tile laying for 1 or 2 people. Players can be Medusa trying to extend the tree. I'm assuming that's trees. No, tress maybe. Okay. Or defeat the intruding champion. And defeat the intruding champion or be the champion. Anticipating Medusa's moves without being turned into stone. So they're going, you know, thematic there. $3 in the US. What am I doing though? What am I doing? Okay. Draft. Battle. Reveal. Drafting phase starts and only happens once per round. You're putting stuff out. Putting a hidden tile down. Then Medusa's grabbing 2 from the market. After she's done 2 of those drafts, champion gets 1 equipment tile, adding it to their equipment. Medusa places her tiles down. Connected to the head, the champion responds by choosing the active tile and playing it face up to a face down tile in play. Okay, great. Reveal, and it tells you kind of what they're going on. So there's a little bit of bluffing, a little bit of outwitting, if you will. So a little bit of this going on. What's it from Big Bang Theory? Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. You know, it sort of reminds me of that. And you get a little bit of the solo mode wall. Oh, man. This is kind of a little bit of a nifty thing. Again, I don't want to be backing anything more, but $13 is $13. I could see myself playing this with my wife, though, as something that is, again, something that get very easy to the table, very intriguing. So I'm glad I caught this one. So Micro Medusa, check it out. Give it some love. Kooky Cats, again, no idea with this. But I mean, it's raised $17,000, right? Cats. People love cats in tabletop games. It's a bit like Happy Families meets Go Fish, where all the fish are instead eaten by cats. Instead of being happy, they're all crazy. I mean, they said bonkers, but you know. Meet a few of the 50 Kooky Cats. How are you playing? So 12 groups of cat categories. Most different complete categories. But there's special cards and there's take that in there. So, okay. 12 special cards that you're going to be doing. That's it. That's all you need to know. A little bit like Go Fish with a little bit of crazy powers. $35 though. Ooh. It's a little bit more expensive than I expect. But cats are cats and people like them. So $17,000. Ho. There you go. Kooky Cats. Blokk. 3D Tetris. 3D Tetris. I forgot about this one on my roundup last week. I got it on the big one, though, which was really interesting. I just, you know, a few of those fell through the cracks in terms of, like, transferring lists. Anyway, it's about a quarter of the way funded with almost 100 people. 1 to 4 player abstract strategy game. Like I said, you're getting a little bit of everything in terms of these pieces where you're trying to then assemble a block of whatever proportion and whatever size that you need to do. And they're going to be wooden, which again is very interesting. We saw that with Blokk and Key. Blokk and Key has run into a couple issues in production in terms of coloring, especially. And so I wonder if these side of things, especially from the production side of things, is already ironed out completely. Solo, block party, block off, so either co-op or competitive. Interesting. And 3 different construct modes. So you can either handpick each block per turn, you can roll a die and get the color that's rolled, or you can just draw a random card and choose the card that's on the block. Or choose the block that's on the card maybe instead. Not the card that's on the block. Anyway, I said that and I deleted it, and so I thought I'd tell you why I'm repeating myself. Anyway, there you go. Rules? Again, I mean, I'm wondering, okay, that's why. I mean, it's 42 euros. And 58 euros for the expansion. That's a lot. That's $50 US and $70 US. I like the idea of a game like this, just like I like the idea of Project L. But I just don't see myself ever playing it. And my wife hates spatial games. I brought over a Japanese game in my box of imports 2 years ago, and she hated it. She absolutely hated it. So I like the idea of this, and this is one that I wouldn't turn down, but this is one that I would not get into my collection because I don't think I would have anyone to play it with. So, wow, lots of people got quotes in there. Even shut up and sit down, so that's interesting. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Stretch goals if they hit them. It'll be interesting to see where this one goes, but we've seen lately that with stuff that is not doing well right away at the beginning, it tends not to necessarily fund, which has become more extreme lately. So it's very interesting to see about that. But that's Blokk, the 3D board game, and that seems like a perfect segue into Gartenbau, which is canceled, which reached 40% of its funding goal in less than 48 hours, but again, it was canceled. So let's take a look at this canceled page. Now, what's the price point? Again, $60 for a standard edition, $100 for the deluxe edition. This is my first time looking at it, folks. That's a heck of a lot more money than I was expecting. That's more money than almost the deluxe edition of Bardwood Grove, right? That's almost the collector's level on Bardwood Grove. So what are you doing here? Again, you're trying to maintain a well-mature garden before the growing season ends. You're drafting flowers that have specific requirements in terms of their environmental things that they need, as well as, you know, getting prestige from them in the first place. Okay, move your pawn around. Put it next to an unoccupied petal. Take the seedling of wherever you stopped, and then take the resources next to it as well. You have to place the tile in front of you immediately. You have to plant it according to rules and the seedlings required. And then you got to put it down in the tableau. So, I mean, again, I saw enough, see here are the quotes, I saw enough people playing it or getting it on the social media side of things, but that's expensive. I mean, I'm not sure, are these tiles, what are they made of? They're not cardboard, but, I mean, interesting. Wooden tiles for the $95 game. Okay, I mean, that makes sense, right? Wood's really expensive now. The price of wood has gone up significantly, but this is a lot of tiles. I mean, you're talking, holy cow, you're talking 180 tiles. So no wonder it's $100. I just don't know if there's the market for that. I mean, yes, it's 2/3, 1/3, which is very interesting because usually the standard versus deluxe is usually like 95-5 or 90-10 in terms of the split. So either way, I mean, I wonder what they're going to do. I didn't look at the update, but I mean, I have to wonder if that's going to go back to the drawing board if you just can't afford to do it at a wooden tile side of things, even though the majority of your backers are there. But what also, again, is going to entice them? So, interesting. More garden side of things. Garden animals seem to be the big theme now, especially in fall. So, and we'll see when Gartenbau comes around again. But there you go. And that segues us right into Thunder Road Vendetta, which was over 50%, almost 2,000 people, and also canceled today. Free expansion for backers. This is a revision of Thunder Road Vendetta, apparently with very much the same mechanics. And I think there was some concerns about the price point. They actually had an update come out, and they sent it out as well, I believe, to a lot of people in terms of what they were going to be doing. So $50, stretch goals, freebies. You can add expansions later. And let's see what this gets you. Yep. All of the expansions. So 3 expansions, inserts, and deluxe foil stamped game box. I mean, this was my big concern though, right? I said this last week. There wasn't a whole lot of information. The art didn't look like it was done prior to the campaign necessarily. There was no information about it. And for the aesthetic, Restoration Games has tried to stay true. It reminds me more of Fireball Island than Return to Dark Tower, which is fine. But $145 for this? I mean, but which is really interesting. Again, you have 2/3 of the backers at that level, which again is not inconsiderable, but I guess people really like card games. I've never found the appeal for them. I mean, this is definitely a huge take that. You're taking damage. It's going to affect your car in this game. And if the car has 2 more tokens, you can't even use it. Slams into another car, you see who gets bumped around. You know, you're doing all sorts of stuff on the road, drifting, repairing, using nitro, creating new roads even. I mean, I know why people would like it, but this is a really big price point, and it's because of the cars, right? I would assume a lot of them in terms of that. So, I don't know. Don't have a clue. I mean, clearly people wanted it, but I think they clearly needed $500,000 to get it off the boat, and which is interesting because I don't know what happened. I wasn't watching this. I didn't check out Kick Track, but I mean, you're less than 48 hours and you're over 500,000. Like, there are very few games, period, that make $500,000 in a day or 2 days. And so you know, to be almost 2/3 of the way there after less than, you know, or just over 48 hours, it seems a bit presumptuous, like a bit high, you know? Like, unless you had completely stalled and you'd seen no pledges like within 12 hours or 24 hours, you know, why cancel at this point? Why not see how close you can get? Unless that $500,000 goal isn't really the true goal, unless you actually need more than that, right? I don't know. And the update addresses it here a little bit. And I'm not gonna like paraphrase, but they say, okay, we're gonna, you know, revisit the box, we're gonna finalize the vehicles, get more art, do some playthroughs. I mean, and whatever tweak the campaign means. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what to say about it from that side of things. But again, another big name project, funding lower than I guess projected expectations and canceling because of it. Say for what you will. I have no idea at this point. Opinions are going to be all over the place. I don't pretend to know, but I thought I'd bring it up because it's an interesting topic point for discussion. So, Thunder Road Vendetta. Never heard of this one. Winds of Baltoro. $26,000. And why does it have $26,000 with 103 backers with an average of over $260 or around $260 per pledge? It's because they've got about 20 pledge levels that are $500 that are almost half filled. And so that's why it's getting a significant amount of funding. But otherwise, I have no idea of what this is. And let's talk. Let's look at it together. Follows the adventures of heroes and villains as they learn the truth of what happened and to stop it from happening again. Jin walk the lands of corpse cities. Epic story of sorcery and science, madness and magic, where allies become enemies and nothing is quite what it appears. I have no idea what you're doing in this game. So $40 standard edition. Show me the deluxe edition then. Standees, event cards. Deluxe gets you miniatures for $65, which is also another big discrepancy, right? Like you're getting this big resin mini, I think, like on these things, for example. Original character art resin statue. It's $500. It's $435 more for that resin statue, right? That's insane. I mean, clearly there must be some sort of background on this, but does that look like $435 worth of resin statue? Like, it's 6 inches. 6 inches. 6 inches, $435. That's insane. I have no idea what to make of that. We'll pull up the rule book here in a second. Shipping, straight to shipping. There's no explanation of the game whatsoever. Like, if this doesn't have red flags all over it, I don't know what would. I mean, there's no description of what this game is beyond the rulebook. There's no video telling more about it. There's no explanation of the mechanisms. So I pulled up the rulebook here, and it's a slightly more complex roll and move. It really is. You got these hexes that are going to have symbols that are either going to have events or triggering circumstances. And you're going to have cards that are going to be going here in terms of the serendipity, challenge, or peril cards that you're going to be dealing with. Each of them have stats in terms of the 4 characters that you have per faction. And all you're trying to do is make it to this certain spot on the map. And depending on what mode you want to play, the Vanguard mode, you just get one person there. The all or nothing means you need to get all 4 of your characters to that hex. That's it. And depending on what position your characters are in, depends on which values allow them to move. And then you move them across, you flip the tiles, and you see what you get, essentially. And that's about it. Again, I have no clue how it works otherwise, and it doesn't seem like anything else to write home about. It seems weird. So, but it's funded. So take that for what you will. Just thought I'd mention it. Winds of Baltoro. There you go. Now this one's interesting too. This is Heroes and Villains, the Superpower deck battle game. Reminds me very much of Sentinels of the Multiverse right away. And it's $9,000 though. 60 people. Again, that's like $150 a pledge right here, just off the top of my head. So that's a lot of money for such a low funding goal. Okay, customizable deck. Go from box to battle for 2 minutes. Pre-shuffled decks. Claim your destiny as a hero or villain and begin. So are we doing deck building? Are we doing deck construction? Are we doing head-to-head? Are we doing... What are we doing here? PvP, multiplayer, 6 power decks. Each includes hero and villain card, 24 action cards. Okay. But what are we doing here? Deluxe edition. So I have a card game that has miniatures. Do I need miniatures? More powers with the PvP battle book expansions. Miniatures are included. Okay. But, like, what am I doing? Okay, I don't need an app. I still don't know what I'm doing. $30. $55. Now, Kickstarter exclusive cards. Are those available at both levels? Or are you putting the Kickstarter exclusives... Yeah, you're putting the Kickstarter exclusives content locked with the miniatures. I don't like that. $95 bundle. 3,500 Cosmic Dust. Is that like mobile app? Yeah, must be like the app currency. Okay, you get the expansions with that. And then the Ultimate Collector's Bundle. Which is what? So it looks like they're just signed copies for $200 more. That's what they look like, unless I'm missing something. That's the only thing I see difference when I'm scrolling back and forth. $1,500. Oh, become a hero or villain. So maybe that's where a couple of these are. Yeah, there's 4 of those. And another 2 people are $600 more. So you have $6,600. $6,600 of the $9,000 is 6 people. So you have 2,400 as the rest. That's insane. That's weird. That's insane. I don't like that. Again, just like Winds of Baltoro, that makes me a little bit nervous. But I have not seen, okay, how are we actually playing? Okay, here we get some videos in terms of how we're actually playing. But again, I don't know based on the board. But again, I don't know until we get down here to the how to play. Okay, Destiny card, you can choose which you want to be, good guy or bad guy. Okay, again, pre-separated, pre-shuffled, or again, yeah, or you can deck construct. Okay, use your limited energy to deploy those cards. Use a balance of tactic, minions, weapons, and assaults. Interesting. I don't know. It makes me a little bit nervous though when I see literally almost like 80% of your funding is from 6 people. Take that for what you will. I mean, the concept looks kind of interesting, but it's also not something we haven't seen before as well. Check it out if you're interested. Heroes and Villains, Superpower deck battle game. Forgotten Treasure. Speaking of things we've talked about already in terms of last week. Again, $4,000, very respectable. On their way to funding at $7,500. So take that 2 to 4 player, 30-minute game where you're trying to just claim treasures using the keys. Force one to get 4 treasures wins. Treasures you provide you with more powerful effects, help you claim more treasures. Get keys, get combos, defend yourself against the take that side of things, and win the game. Rule books are out there, online's out there in Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator. Deluxe Edition, what are you getting there? Slipcover, 4 new events, 26 items. That's not a ton of content. What's the difference in price point? $26. Okay, that's fine. $9. That's not horrible. Does that also get you the expansion? Reviewer prototype. Oh, one of our reviewer prototype ones. I've seen that a few places. Get it sooner. That's cool. I don't mind that. Signed prototype, $500. Well, I'm glad they only went with 1 there. So is this cursed expansion and the Kickstarter pack are going to be... Yeah. Okay, the pack is in each one. This must be included in the deluxe edition. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Nope, the reviewer prototype. Yep, it says here on the pledge level. So that's not actually, $9 more. That's the one you go at no matter what then. That's actually a much better deal then. I like hearing that. I like seeing that. Choosing the stretch goals, that's great. Doing it that way. You know what? I hope this funds. I'm going to remind me on this one. I'm going to watch a little video later because I do like a little bit of a light take that-ish game. So I would not be put off by this, especially if it is only $35. But I also have had bad luck in card games and what I like versus what I actually like to play and other people like to play in my group. So that would be my only concern. I just have poor choosing in the past on Kickstarter with card games in general. So retail has done me much better on that side of things. But it's an interesting concept. I like it. I like the aesthetic. Some take that. Check it out. Forgotten Treasure. Next up, we actually have Taverns and Dragons on Gamefound. And they're 3/4 of the way. And again, this hasn't really gotten a lot of hype. And it's a 2 to 5 player game that I mentioned is sort of a worker placement style game from Lord Raccoon Games. Already, you can see the pledge level is going to be $44 as the featured one. So we'll see whatever else they're including. Stretch goals, expansion, mini expansion. Okay, you got me peaked. That is the one benefit of Gamefound. I won't lie, of having some of this right here so I'm not wondering how much of it's on the page. Okay, so, I mean, again, I talked about it last week. you're making recipes, trying to farm ingredients, trying to please the king over the 3 days when he's getting there. So you're trying to do that as a dice worker placement game with worker movement. I like the sound of it. I often am not very good at it in practicality, though. And so that's often my blessing curse, I guess, if you will. Up here, it sounds good. But up here, I know better most of the time now. So they are try before you buy, if you will, for me. Fifth Tavern community. I mean, the artwork, I really like this. People aren't going to like this because it's a little cartoony, but I like it. The dice, the markers, the heroes that you're going to be utilizing and hiring, the recipes, the dragon boards that you're going to be... Okay, tokens. Okay, so what are you getting here? You get the Sneaky Goblin expansion and all stretch goals. Okay. Group pledge. That's it. A few stretch goals here. Sneaky Goblin. I don't know. It's an interesting mechanic. You know, if you're doing a worker placement game, a lot of the time, people like strategy. They like a lot of perfect information or that side of things. And so something is randomly going to appear on the board and randomly give you random stuff. How would you feel about that? I mean, I'm intrigued by it. I don't mind it. But will other people? Now, this is also an interesting sort of avenue, right? Is it better to tease like this and get people to come back? Or is it better to have people know what this is up front, that they're going to be getting included? I mean, and that goes to the premise of Primal, right? Primal said, here, this is everything you're getting. This is the price point. You know, Monster Hunter said, here's everything. Here's the price point. And there's something to be said of that, especially when you're not sure you're going to be like a massive success where you can't necessarily drag people in slowly. You need that upfront funding. So this is an interesting decision. And I wonder if they don't fund here in the next, couple days, if that's going to change. Because to be honest, again, exposure is just not what it is in terms of eyeballs on Gamefound as Kickstarter right now. It's just not. And that's okay. But you just have to be aware of that. Roll your dice, place the dice in the city to get your resources or to gain energy, move your worker guys around to get all the ingredients, visit locations to get the stuff. You can hunt dragons. It's risky though. Use the heroes, meet the goblin. Okay, I mean, the rule book is there. Great. Quackalope, Tantrum House, foreign languages as well, a little bit of everything. It's interesting. I heard that Quackalope and Board Game Co. are going to have a playthrough video coming out. They commented on the Facebook that there's going to be something of that too. So, I don't know. I am intrigued by this. I am very intrigued by this. I wasn't sure. This is one that I will definitely have to... Oh, see, I'm not signed in. I'll take care of that after you guys are done watching this. I'm going to definitely follow it and maybe watch some of that video that comes out, because I could go either way on this. But overall, like I said, here and here often don't agree. So, I mean, with all the other stuff I'm backing potentially, it's very expensive right now. But anyway, that is Taverns and Dragons. Check it out. So there's not actually, going to the updates section this week, there's not a whole lot. Especially when you search by popularity right now, there's a lot of RPG, D&D stuff, and it's mostly the stuff from this week otherwise. You get down here and you see a little bit of Voidfall versus Mythwind. And I guess the question is, if you had to pick right now, 4 days left to go on Voidfall, 17 days left to go on Mythwind, who you got? Who is your bet on in terms of who's going to end up with more? That's your question this week. Who's going to end up more? Now, again, One Deck Galaxies finishing up. They're going to break 200K. Nothing shabby about that whatsoever. And then we got a couple other contenders down here. Don't Go In There is probably going to end up over 100,000, which again is very impressive for what it is. Beast is killing it. Almost 3 million of, I forget the name of this currency, but that is a third of $1 million, folks. That's impressive. Keep the Heroes Out is doing even better. They're actually higher than Beast right now, which is amazing. And Fractal is sitting right around the same point as well. So you have a lot of big stuff without big names going on in terms of funding right now, which again is kind of cool, because then even if you go down further, you see again more six-figure stuff. Roll Cameras breaking 6 figures. Verdant's up to $250,000. There's a whole lot of stuff going around, and you're not even, getting to the sort of next tier of stuff when you have Red Dragon Inn, and that at 275, Stuff of Legend at 211. I mean, this is a lot of money being thrown around in Kickstarter right now for a lack of, you know, signature quote unquote games that are being broadcast. I mean, if you ask people for signature games that are doing relatively well on crowdfunding right now, people are going to probably shout out Voidfall or Fractal at you. And they're probably not going to be able to list any of these others, or hardly any of these others that are breaking six figures. And so that's why these times of this year and these games always surprise me, because look at all these six-figure ones. It's pretty amazing. And we haven't even hit next week, which is going to be even crazier with Unbreakable and Lords of Ragnarok, which is going to blow most of these out of the water. And again, how do you want to divvy your funds? Especially with shipping going to be what it's going to be. So, I mean, we can scroll down a little bit further, but those are the big ones I wanted to point out. So, again, very interesting time. You know, a lot of six-figure games, even though a lot of them are also flying under the radar. I'm going to give a special shout out here at the end to Magic Sword Tactics, which ended the day of me filming this. I was one of 46, and unfortunately, it did not fund. So I hope that it comes back again in the future, and we are able to get to see what they can do, especially because board game tables, I'll shout this out to you. Check out this. Show it some love. Show some of these other ones some love. I mean, we got some real Aqua Garden potential with some of these other games, if they can just get a bigger audience, because I don't think a lot of people know about them in the first place. But I was a little sad that this one didn't fund, because I was really kind of excited about this magical deck building tower defense type game. That's cards. So, thought I'd give a shout out here at the end. Anyway, that's it. Let's do this. So, that's about it. That's the wrap up this week. I hope you liked my video from yesterday as well. I completely forgot to mention that at the beginning. Talking about the games you should get at a retail or ish side of things. The anti-Essen video, if you will. You saw my sort of anti-Gen Con hype video. If you did not check the other one, I'll put the link up here and above at the time of this video going on, being live. So that's it. I'm also going to have the special video. The top 10 for next week is going to be top 10 games right now on my wish list that are going to be upcoming very shortly, coming out very shortly, sometime ish in that ilk, with a few retails that are already out there. But there you go. If you're looking forward to that, we can compare lists, if you will. Other than that, I got nothing else. Tomorrow's video, we're going to be talking a lot of Unbreakable and a lot of Lords of Ragnarok. Apparently there's a gameplay video, or I think Quackalope's video for the 7, I think he titled it 7 differences between Lords of Hellas and Lords of Ragnarok, or something along those lines. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit, and whatever else comes out. We can talk about some TV too, so, you know, it's all good. Okay, that's all I got. It's been too long already with this video, so I'm blabbing here at the end. Told you there's going to be some rambling in there. I didn't lie. No false advertising there either. I do what I can. Okay. Stay classy. See you around. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend.